that so much of this story, it really hit home this time, how much of the story is driven by men being bad. And, so I think, there's some folks who can probably, sympathize. But you were telling me that this was a COVID project, and also that this is your first feature film. And so I'm curious, what made you decide to make the leap during COVID?
Well,
Yeah, please.
I've worked for about 10 years with marketing, propaganda, and these things. And I guess everyone here always dreamed to do cinema since very early in life. And I kept postponing that dream and saying, when I have the means, the financial means, and I have more experience, I'm gonna do it. And then once CD Valada, which is the other director with me in this, we've known each other for 30 years. He came to me and he said, I have a script, and I thought of doing that. He always traveled with me on vacation, so he said, I have a script, and I thought of doing that on your country house, your family's country house. Mm-hmm. And the whole film is thought to that purpose, that we can do in one space, one room. And when I read it, I asked him if he could give me like 2 weeks, still postponing the beginning, the leap. And then he gave me the 2 weeks, and the night before the end of the due date, I was like 11 o'clock, I got the script and I read it, and I devoured it in 40 minutes. And then I went to him and he said, yeah, I just want to use your space, but since he's friends of my brothers also, he said, but since you're the one kind of in the cinema scenario, I talked to you and not with your brothers, and if you want to participate in any kind, please let me know. And then when I read it, we start discussing, and Daniel has such a detailed a way of writing details, very I don't know the word in English, sorry guys, but as to pinpoint the little things so that nothing is ever a loose end. Mm-hmm. And that was so well done that the end, as you all see, where Bruna actually was the one turning the whole thing around, that came after, because I said to him, I read his script and I said, yeah, I loved the plot twist in there. And he said, what? There's no plot twist. And I said, yeah, Bruna knew everything all around. And he said, no, but tell me more. That's it. The rest is history. The minute we start talking about this, we start advancing on this street. The leap was done. It was made. We have a lot of projects that we are already talking about second, third, and fourth film.
Oh, wonderful.
Because of that, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to let you hold on to that, and I'm
Okay.
just going to ask, could you talk about the set? I'm sorry?
Can you grab the mic?
Sure. I was going to ask if you could talk a little bit more about that set and how you worked in what seems like a fairly small space and managed to make it so dynamic and feel like there's it feels very tight, but you obviously had enough room to work and had enough room to block out the shots and stuff. So talk about, well, also that I hear there's an interesting story. I hear there's an interesting story about the house itself and how there's been more happening there.
Yeah, well, when we started that, the curiosity that you're pointing out, we told you, is that my wife that is there, my partner in everything, in life, in crime, in everything.
And the producer of the film.
And the producer, yeah. She couldn't see herself out of it, and she said, okay, if you need some help with that, I'm gonna do it. And she put all her work aside and just dove into it with us. And in the middle of that, because in Brazil you can kind of shoot pretty easily if you raise a little bit of money and you do it. But the post-production is chaos. It's absolutely insane because no one wants to make a bet, because in post-production everything that you do takes a lot of time, and it's usually their time to win their money to leave. So we had an hiatus between the shoot part to the post-production. In that, while we were testing our first kid together, we actually start testing our first kid together. So we have a daughter now. She's 1.
We live in the same location
Yeah,
that
and
we shot.
actually, she's 1, and when we got the news, she gave me the news that we are making the family grow. We actually went to live on the location. So that house this film is in my house after it. And we actually transformed everything. It's not like that. There are huge windows, so it's really nice. It's not a box.
Hello, I'm happy to hear that. It was very effective. So could you talk about casting? Because you have 3 people doing an awful lot of work here, and how that process started and what you were looking for.
I think a lot of you can relate that the first movie, it's not so well thought all the way. Like, yeah, we took a producer, a very famous guy in the market. No, it was just, I know João Feneriche, which is Pedro, for a long time, and I just saw him as Pedro, and he's a very sweet guy, nothing to do with that.
So a good actor.
Yeah, just a good actor. And but I saw this kind of beautiful guy being an asshole. And when I called him, he immediately said, "Okay, you gotta call Felipe." They were both on Globo, which is, some may know, the biggest television company in Brazil, which is huge, by the way. And they were doing soap operas there. And when I called him, I was like, "Dude, I have a project." Just send me the script and let's do it. He didn't even know if it was a short, a feature, a soap opera, anything. He just said, and I kind of knew he would do that. So that's what he did. Then he extended to Felipe. Felipe did the same thing. Then we were really struggling with finding the right person for Bruna's character. And actually, they're both very big. So they were really concerned that it couldn't be such a small woman. And actually, Bruna, Carol Macedo, the actress, she's so technical, so keen to details, much like Daniel, the way Daniel writes, that I had 2 people to direct. The third one was directing me. Carol was like, "Yeah, so you want that, right? And I can't show too much expression because obviously I can't give up." And so it was that dynamic was amazing. We called someone from Global that once he saw the script, he said, okay, I'm gonna find Carol. And so on Christmas of that year, 2020 to 2021, she called me and she said, I never talked to her. I have never talked to her until then. She called me and she said, can I give you a Christmas present? I said, yeah, I'm gonna do your movie. And I said, thank you so much. We start shooting 5 days. And she said, oh, okay, let's go. So we did that. It was in January. We started shooting. It started actually. We had to take everyone to the location. There is enough room for everybody, so everybody stayed like isolated there. No one could get out, so we wouldn't have the logistics nightmare of tests and all this, the common ones and the ones due to COVID. And it was actually amazing because everyone in those, we spent 10 days there. The first 3 was for the 3 actors to rehearse. And we brought Vinicius Oliveira, which is the little guy 10, 20 years ago from Central do Brasil, which is one of Brazilian's most famous films. And he was amazing because he said, okay, I have 2 weeks to make you all feel what these 2 maniacs wrote, because there is a lot of tension the whole film. So he would do dynamics with the 2 of them before Carol came, in which I said, okay, one of them is not going to be alive at the end. They're going to kill each other before that. And then Carol came and Carol was like, yeah, I don't need that. I can enter anything you would need. They did for 3 days with her also, and it was enough for what you see here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to turn it over if anyone has any questions they would like to ask filmmaker. Yes. Okay. Well, I'll start with you.
This is, I don't know why I care, but is the first 20 minutes like one long take?
Yeah.
Keen observer.
Yes, and such great movement.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, that it was originally thought to be even more complex, but what we think almost never comes to fruition as we thought. So the idea there is that the behind the scene, the veil behind the scene is that when Max is traveling, the parallel consequences is a double entendre. It's the consequences they leave throughout the whole multiverse, let's say, but also what happens to his body. You can see that he's physically being fragmented and exhaustion in his body and his mind. So the way we thought that we could subjectively show that better is if we start with no cuts, one shot, and after they start traveling, then you start to see a little bit of editing and until the last scene when you literally see on the screen that fragmentation before our eyes. So, nice observation. We actually planned the scene to have 4 fake cuts between the part where they pass behind Pedro's character and everything. But on the first day, and it was not just reminding you all, it was not just the first day of this movie, it was my first day as a director for cinema ever, you know? And we started shooting at 7 a.m. When it was 5, that box was like 50 degrees Celsius.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had a very big problem of continuity because Felipe, which you see there, he would start a scene with his shirt gray, light gray, and end the scene with his shirt black of sweat, you know. So at 5:30 p.m. we didn't have any of the 4 little cuts, any of them, in a order that we could put sequential. Okay, he started a little sweat, more sweat, more. No, we didn't have that. So at 5:30 there was 3 people: art, photography, and makeup, and they were all like, you know that scene you have in a lot of movies that the main character, it's my life, so the main character is stand there and people start talking and he's, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? I literally lived that, and I don't know, something came down and they said, okay, stop everything, clear everybody up. I start looking to people to sound and the actors and everything. I said, okay, we trained a lot today. I think now we can, okay, stop everything, reset. We hadn't had lunch, so I said, reset. After lunch, we are gonna lunch at 5:30, and then we are gonna come back and we're gonna do 1 take. And that take is gonna be the take that's going to the movie.
And you did it.
And we did it. No one messed anything. No one. The boom never entered the camera. They never messed the line. So they even did improvisations better. I don't know if you noticed. Felipe he coughs on in front of the cabinet. And he's like, oh, it's gonna take my rhinitis. Something like that. They were just inspired. And that first day, that moment where I said, okay, you're gonna have to make a bet here, that taught me probably the best thing I'm gonna have to learn for the 40 years, 50 years, 70 years I pretend to be in this career.
Do you have a question as well?
Yeah, just, well, actually, it's more of a commentary. I think in American cinema, you usually see people who look more like they're performers than they're real life people. You have a lead here who's overweight, he's sweaty, he's not a matinee idol, he's really human all the way through. He really comes through as a believable character, and at the end, the guy who plays Max, you can't quite tell. This is a combination of, I think, him as an actor and your cinematography. You can't quite tell if he is about to turn into a psychotic murderer,
Yes.
or is he just uncomfortable and nervous and sweating and he's fragmented. You can tell that after going back in time 8 times, he's starting to lose it there. It's a good combination. And I think a lot of times, really effective acting is very, very subtle acting. And so I'm not sure how much of it was him being a gifted, subtle actor, or how much was the cinematography. I think it's kind of both. It's like you didn't push him to overdo it. And he was sweating, perhaps he was sweating naturally anyway from the conditions. If you have hot lights there and you're doing the take for an hour or whatever. So kudos to you on both of those.
Thank you very much. I'd like to take all the credit, but he's just that good. He really brings that to everything he does. And at a certain point there, we said, okay, we need to let these two rash it out, fight it, and put it out, because they had everything mapped about what we want to those characters. So it's them all along. It's them.
Good stuff.
Did I see another question? All right, we're gonna let you go early. Yes, oh, there you go.
the process of co-directing? How was it co-directing this film?
Oh, amazing question. First time for me and for Daniel. Daniel was not so receptive at first until I suggested the plot twist. Then he said, yeah, this might work. But actually it was amazing. It's really good to, I think you have to be a little bit lucky to find someone that complements what your weaknesses, for example. And I think we found that. Without Sede Valada, I call him Daniel because I know him forever, but he actually expressed to me, please refer to me as Sede Valada, and I said, okay. So, for me, the biggest challenge of making a movie is for you to, after you do a storyboard, you break that into, and it's kind of in big movies, it's the AD, first AD's job and everything, but we didn't have that. And if I had to do that with an untrained first AD, which was what we could afford at the time, it wouldn't be there. And Daniel, Sede Valada seems to never be shaken by anything. I'm all emotions, and I have to focus to put my emotions in check. And he is the other way around. It can be, this room could be burning, and he was, it's okay, the door's there. That's okay. So that was amazing. It was amazing. We clicked on everything, and I actually learned a lot because he's a very brainy guy for almost everything he does. Kind of a pain in the ass sometimes, sorry, Daddy. But amazing to work with, amazing.
Well, it's so fortunate that you have a friend who not only wants to pursue this, but that your temperaments work well together. And that's yeah, so lucky. So you mentioned you have other ideas. I just want to confirm for the record, you're going to be doing this again, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. We have some more sci-fi there and thriller, but actually the two next ones are tragic comedy with very dark humor, acid humor, and we have a huge one that we still have to find a lot of people to help and a lot of partners, but it's about, maybe everyone knows here, there was a disaster in 2019 in Brazil, in the city of Brumadinho. It's one of the greatest catastrophes in terms of nature and what it happened with it. But I actually lost a friend there.
Sorry.
So we started writing a script, an emotional one, a drama about that. Still in the making. We know where we are heading now, but to show it has to be a not a documentary, but drama, and to show the magnitude of what happened there. Anyone who does cinema here knows it's gonna cost a lot. So either way, it can be done on set, real life, it can be done on CGI, it's gonna cost a lot. So that's a huge project, probably a third or a fourth down the road.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on you.
Thank you.
So, if there are no other questions, if there are, I'm sorry I missed you, but just one more time, please give it up for Gabriel.